Hey, what's up, Kings? So I wanted to talk a little bit about this one channel, Fashionably Divorced. The woman on it, and one of the topics about age gaps. You're going to get a kick out of it, but I will say that there is a grain of truth in what she's saying. Most of it, though, is just showing her hypocrisy and her own little power play on age gaps. So let's get right to it.
Ex-husband was 17 years older than me. When he and I met, I was 29 and he was 46. And though everyone around me saw what was going on, I very naively thought he really wanted me for me. Though I was mature for my age, I was still very naive about how men work and really how the world works. And I got a very good crash course. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have understood very well that the only kind of men that date and marry women that are substantially younger than them are insecure men. These are men that want to exploit women, that want to dominate women. They get into relationships so that they can have power.
All right, a lot to unpack, but I get what she's saying in terms of some guys wanting that. I've seen this when I went overseas to find my wife. There were some really old dudes there, and the age gaps were palpable. I mean, they were 20, 30 years or more in some cases. I don't advocate for that type of age gap, that considerable, but I will say that 10 to 15 is perfectly fine. Hers was 17. My wife is 10 years younger. It's a very good dynamic for us. 13 was the biggest age gap of any of the girls that I went on a date with during the time I was at the event that I met my wife at. But yeah, her motivation is a little bit weird. I think it's possible that her husband was played too much into the power dynamics, kind of controlled her a little bit. It's also possible that she's interpreting it in that way, and there's two sides to every story kind of thing going on. So I'm a little bit hesitant to just like take her word for it. But I will say that some, to her credit, some men might do this sometimes.
They don't want a partner. If they wanted a partner, they would seek someone who was closer in their age. They would seek out a peer. I don't care what anyone else tries to tell me. I don't care what anyone says about how well balanced their May-December romance is. At the end of the day, it's about power.
Okay, well, she's made her mind up. She doesn't want to be convinced otherwise. I don't care what anyone else says. So she's, has that boomer mentality. No one's going to tell her otherwise, and this is just the way it is. So you'll know that in some of my videos, I don't advocate full-on, balls-deep, red pill Kool-Aid. I think that many of the tenets in the red pill are highly applicable. They'll save you time, money, and grief. But what I will say is that some of it is a bunch of horse shit, and it's from men who like have sex with prostitutes too much, or addicted to porn, or just otherwise mentally broken. And then they use the red pill as sort of like a facade to layer over their own trauma instead of dealing with it. They shouldn't necessarily go to therapy for their trauma, but they should deal with it. They should have male friends. They should have self-improvement books, self-improvement resources to get over the problems that they're having with how they understand women. In any event, she has this static mentality about things, and then it'll get very interesting. The hypocrisy will get very interesting with the next video. So, age gap, one direction. Now we're going to talk about the other direction, i.e. cougardom.
Since we've talked about older men who date younger women and substantially younger women, let's talk about older women who date younger men. And I am one of them. I don't make any effort to hide that. I do that for two reasons. Number one, physical. Men my age, at least in my area, don't age well. They don't take great care of themselves. They don't stay physically active.
All right. there's a half truth in here. I know that I'm 45. I have a social circle of men in their middle age. Many of them are in middle age, or some that are younger, but 40 to 50 is typical. Some a little more older than 50. A lot of them don't take care of themselves at all. She's absolutely right. They let themselves go. They cried themselves to sleep about their divorce. They didn't bother going to the gym or doing anything to improve their psyche, their physical body, their skin. Their skin looks like leather. Now, sometimes it's they work outside. They're not able to work on the particulars because they have things going against them. They might they work in construction or in the oil fields or whatever, and they're outside all the time. So it's the sun can be brutal to people over time. She gets to work in a nice air conditioned office or working from home. I know that this is her profession. A lot of it's remote work, so she gets to be her little princess mode by staying out of the sun. It doesn't work that way for some guys who are unable to avoid that. Like I said, half truth. I think that she thinks she is hotter than she is. She's 45 years old, give or take. I don't know exact age, but she's about 45 years old, about my age. She's done bikini poses and everything with two-piece. Her body is tight. If I was 20 to 25 years old, I'd be hitting that up. I'd try to get into a situationship 1 or 2 years minimum with someone like that, as long as she had a pleasant attitude and it was no drama. She paid for things. She took me out to dinner. She sent me off with snacks, cooked for me sometimes. I'd be hitting it up all the time. I'd be staying over a lot of times. I'd almost have like a faux relationship with her. But she looks good for 45, but I think she thinks she's hotter than she really is. She's mid. For her age, she's slightly above average, but generally speaking, she's completely mid. There is nothing appreciably beautiful about her. She's pretty. Her hair is, not that great. It's okay. And I don't know. She has this sort of monotonic personality, and it's very closed mind and everything. So it's not the kind of person that you could see would bring you peace in your life. So from a relationship standpoint, she's completely mid. I don't see her being able to convince me otherwise. Again, I don't want to think too statically. Maybe there's something that I haven't seen about her. Maybe she's very sexy and very submissive, or there's traits about her that would be a big turn on. But I just wouldn't see her as relationship material myself, especially if I was younger than her.
I do take care of myself. I do stay active. So it's basic principles of attraction. And then I'm not willing to compromise on the lifestyle that will keep me feeling and looking my best. Number two, it's...
So basically what she's saying is that she needs tiger blood. She needs to drink the blood of young men, figuratively speaking. Maybe a better word is she needs the sperm from young men inside of her to keep her happy. And there's some scientific evidence to show that the semen from men, and they're not using protection, it absorbs into women. So in a way, it's not too far-fetched to say that she feels youthful by regular injections from her young bucks.
Mental. The men my age that I encounter in my area are battle scarred, and they're not willing to make an effort to learn and heal from it.
All right. And then she was just saying in the previous video, no one's going to convince me otherwise about this. Yet she talks about battle scars. She has a static viewpoint on things, and she's talking about younger men, and I imagine it's like they're more impressionable. So she's basically doing the same exact thing that men who want to date younger women, and it's weird. It's very weird.
They don't have a sense of humor. They don't have a zest for life, an intellectual curiosity. They're a
They don't want to be mentored by you because they're her age. Why would they want to be? A young man wants to learn from you, but you know what? I bet you that young man is pretending to act dumb and just kind of like, oh yeah, I'd like to learn from you. He's not He's looking to lay down pipe, and he's looking to learn how to become a better lover. And she's going to teach him lots of tricks to become a better lover. I mean, more power to them both. I mean, they're both at their sexual prime, 25, 45. She's having the time of her life right now. Another 5 or 10 years is going to be a problem for her, mentally, physiologically, everywhere. But right now, she's having the time of her life, probably.
Greg, that said, 10 years younger, that's my general cutoff for long-term consideration.
And that's hilarious. 10 years, so 30, so she's 45, a 35-year-old, she'll consider a relationship with her. Have you ever considered that the guy who's 35 is not going to want a relationship with you? Now, maybe there's a tiny minority of men who are going to consider it in a certain respect, but they're not going to be high-quality men. They're going to be guys who are already suffering ED because they have low T. They're not going to be the quality men that she even wants. It's because it's funny. The men who are younger than me have lower testosterone than guys like my age, and it's funny that she's seeking it out for probably sexual energy. She ain't finding it because the ones she does find it from, they have too much testosterone, self-respect, drive to be bothered to be in a relationship with her. And the only ones that will want to be in a relationship with her are, going to be guys who already have dad bods when they're 25, 30 years old because their hormones are all out of whack.
And that's what I think older men and younger women should observe to keep things fair and not an uneven power dynamic. That's based on what I have seen and also other people I know. 10 years is a window where two people can be on a level playing field because they've had similar life experience.
She's trying to make it all about fairness. Look, life ain't fair. Men are allowed to do this, women cannot. It's just accept that. Accept your place in the world. As a woman, there are double standards exist for both men and for women. Women get to control when men have sex with them. Men get to control when women have relationships with men. Generally speaking, this is the case. When it comes to dating, in long-term relationships, age gaps are much more accepted with men being older than women. And if you need any more evidence, this is the map that you want to take a look at. Even though the age gaps look pretty small in some cases, remember the average age of marriage is 30 in the United States, and in Latin America, it's definitely in your 20s. So Peru and Brazil are 3.5 to 4 or whatever around that age. So a 22-year-old woman will marry a 26-year-old guy. That age gap looks more. The gap looks larger, even though the nominal difference is the same, than a 40-year-old and a 44-year-old, because they're getting married younger. That's why when there's that whole little heuristic that people use, half your age plus 7. So as a 45-year-old, half of that's 22 and a half, and then add 7 is 29 and a half. We'll round it up for 30 just for shits and giggles. And that's the ideal partner for me, a 30-year-old woman for my 45-year-old self. Now, I married somebody who's 35 currently, so that's even well within that bounds. I know that's on the upper bounds of what she wants, but she's using a scalar value. Whereas a linear equation is much better because it changes, the proportion changes as you get older because you're using a multiplier effect there. So when you're 20, you're dating somebody 17. That's probably a bad example. So when you get married, 22, okay, half of that's 11, add 7's 18, 22 and 18. It's a pretty fair age range. It's not too bad. That's normal. And when somebody's 40, half of that's 20, add 7 is 27. It's pretty fair. 40 and a 27-year-old. But anyway, she kind of just goes into this whole spiel about control, and she's actually the one controlling the guy.
younger than that, it's possible that they haven't. And that's not fair. It's an uneven power dynamic. And quite frankly, for me, it's just not interesting. Anything more than a 10-year age difference, I have done that, but it's for a fun time, not a long time.
And there you go. So this delusional woman thinks that she can get in a relationship with a guy 10 years younger than her, and that's most likely, overwhelmingly, not going to be the case. He'll pretend to be in a relationship with her, perhaps like the situationship kind of dynamic. But with, guys that are younger than 10, oh yeah, she's definitely going to do that. She's going to definitely do that. But man, don't do that. Don't do that yourself. Keep it fair. Keep it fair. Within 10 years, that's... I know she's talking about from a relationship standpoint, but like I said, let's be honest. Let's be perfectly candid here. They're not in relationships with her. She may think that they're in relationships, but they're not in relationships. So anyway, it's just funny. I would say she also talks a bit about like non-monogamy. So for my homie strategy that I've had in other videos where you hook up older, marry younger, she is almost the ideal candidate for like my 20 to 25-year-old self. She's the one who wants somebody for a long term, wants you to lay pipe 3-4 times a week, regular sex. She's probably going to cook for you. She's probably going to do other things for you. I don't know about this one. Maybe she won't. But she'll let you stay over because she wants more sex in the morning and everything. So she might cook breakfast for you, but she might send you off with some snacks. And if she doesn't, then kind of make it apparent that you're not going to come back unless she does a couple of things for you. Because if you're an attractive guy and a young guy and she's got you, like pretty regular, you should definitely encourage her to do those little things to make her like you're kind of your sugar mama. It doesn't have to be monetary sugar mama as such, but sort of like from like acts of service kind of thing. So she's doing things for you. She is providing for you so you can lay pipe down on her. And that's transactional, and that's natural, and that's beautiful. That's something that you should do when you're young, and she's the kind of person to do it. She's very logical. Now, the non-monogamy thing, I don't know. If you do that, then you probably have to wear rubber, but if she's consistent with you, you don't have to wear a condom. Low pregnancy risk, it's perfect. But if you have to wear a rubber because she has a roster of 4 or 5 other guys, at least she's honest about it. At least she's going to tell you that she's dating other men. And, hey, honesty is great, even if it's not the kind of honesty you want to hear. Anyway, that's about it, Kings. Take care and see you on the next one.